Estağfurullah hocam.
Okay. Our example is today. Bir dakika. Okay. This example is from 2020, 9 May. And this is the question about the offline questions. And I would like to just model this part with two views, representation with one with the breakout section and one with the full section, which is specified by AA. Here we have two revolve sections. The first thing, I would like to have one revolve section, like this. I will just follow something like this. If you want, you can just consider this part with a full revolve section. For this, please ignore this portion. We will just make a hole inside and we will add the threaded section here. Okay. Then we would like to have another revolve section, which is this one. Also, I will ignore these two part drawings here. I would like to have 25 millimeter here with a normal extrusion revolve section, and I would like to have 32 millimeter here to have a revolve section, which is this one. Okay, the next, I will open a new part file with standard millimetric IPT. First, the usual thing that I did in every part, I choose a point for my part somewhere as an origin point. It can be many places in our figure. Here we can just, for example, just make a intersection point, which is this portion, which belongs to this view, and which is this portion, which belongs to this view. You can choose any point for yourself, and we will just create two different revolve sections, and we will just create planes and sketches on their planes. As usual, I'm going to just select this point for my origin because we have many details and we can just define every part dimension. Also, the dimensions see too much on our part. Okay. First, a new sketch on XY plane, which I have seen in this view. Here, I would like to just first create the axis lines. Right click, with right click visibility and XY plane visibility. Start a new sketch on XY plane. New line with horizontal, vertical. A new line. These are arbitrary lines, as usual. Slowly, I will just design. Here, I need a constraint, coincident. which is this one. I get the midpoint of this line and carry to center point, which I see in our origin point. The next, do the same thing for other line for this axis. Okay, here I have a detail, which is this one. I have two circles. The smaller one, it is 50. The bigger one, it is 64. 50 and 64. I will just clear, then give the dimensions that I see in my part. This one is 50, the other one, it is 64. Okay, we have two details. Also, we have a channel which is just connected this enclosure to this enclosure. We will connect, this is a valve part, valve body. The enclosure just passed through this 16 plus 6 millimeter distances. We have a gap at this point. We have a channel which connects this area to this area. Okay. The next, what I have here, I have two parts. As you see, we have a center line, and our center line is far from our part axis here. And for this distance, I will just use this dimension because this line, the axis line, this axis line is far from this point. So the alignments here, we have 58. What I'm going to do is, I have a revolved part. We have an axis, and our axis is 58 millimeters far from here. What I'm going to do is, I will just close, draw a line, vertical line. Here I would like to have, you can also convert it to construction. Also, you can just choose a center line property to make the dimensions for which are in circular dimensions. 25, 33. For these 4 dimensions, we have to just think our part as a center axis dimension. The next, I will just give the dimension from this point to this point. I have a dimensional constraint. I am sorry. The point here, the line here, we have 58, which is this dimension. Okay. The next, we need some elements to have this view. You can also have this view, this revolve cut process afterwards. We first create the body part with the dimensions shown here, mostly. Okay. What I'm going to do is I will just follow the outline that I have drawn in my figure. I need this profile sketch at that point. Okay. I will leave as it is and try to have this figure shape beside. Here I have a distance from this line, and with escape I need another line. I will follow two ways. I will create the profile that I have in hand. I will go outside, go inside again, go inside, downside, inside again. As you see, I ignore the filleted items which I have seen here. You can give the fillets at any time, at any place that you would like to have. I will go inside a little, then go outside, upside, and connect these two. Okay. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I will just create the dimension relationships from starting from this center line. For this, I will extend this line to this point to make it easier to give the dimensional relationships. I will start from the top side, the first dimensions in the vertical side. Here I have 28. I will change 28. Okay. The next thing, we have this connection, as you see. It is 32 millimeter. This hillside, this is 32 millimeter far from the line end. This is 32 millimeter. Okay. Our shape just disturbed. Then we have a 3 millimeter inside. Here we have a distance. You can also just give one dimension to this point, this line, which is 3. Okay. The next, as you see, we have 44 millimeter, which is this length here. I will just give dimension from this point to this point, which is 44. The next, after this 44, we have another 44 distance, which is this point. Okay. The next, we have some dimensional relationship. As I have told you before, here I will just give these threaded holes with the hole feature. Okay. For this, I will just create the emptiness here, the profile, within the 25 millimeter distance. Also, we have another distance, which is at this point. We also have another circular distance, and that distance relationship will just come from this point. When you follow this point, the round here, the round extrusion revolve cut process, we have that this dimension relationship, which is 50. Okay, I will just clear the annotations of the zoom. The next, what I'm going to do is I will give the dimensional relationship. Here, you can just give, let's say 40. It is 42, but I'm not insisting on this one. I will just delete because I would like to give that dimension with a whole feature. The next, we have 6 millimeter in length. This emptiness here, it is 6 millimeter in length, which is this one. Okay. The next, as I have told you before, are this point. I can get that dimension, and I will just follow the line on the bottom side. Here, I have a 50 millimeter dimensional relationship when I just follow this emptiness. Okay, for this, I will use 50 millimeter. The next thing, we have 25 millimeter. We have this line, which is 25. Okay, I will reshape this figure here. As you see, this line stays inside, but it is not dimensioned. Here, I'm going to just give its dimension from the center line. This is 32. Okay. The next, we have the outline here, which is 50 millimeter far from here. Then the next thing, we have 62. Okay. 50. I have made a mistake. This is 50. That is 62. I haven't given any distance. You can just leave as it is, or just take it inside a little bit, because we are going to just make a whole feature at this point. Okay, this is our figure. I'm sorry. This is our figure from this view. Also, we have some other features at this point, but I'm not interested in like this one. Here, you can also create the flange here. And for this, I will just create a rectangle this time. Clear. The next thing, I will just create a rectangle here with the given dimensions which I have seen here. I have 4 holes here. I would just like to have this time use a rectangle tool. It's a square here. As you see, we have a sign which is 100. And it is centered. It is not implied that we have 50 millimeters in all directions to sideways. For here, I'm going to use a rectangle tool with center 2-point rectangle. And I use the center point here. I will just create this rectangle. For square, I would like to give an equality relationship between this line and this line. As you see, these lines, now we have equality relationship. The next, we have the fillets. on all sides. You can have the fillet tool. Here I have a fillet with 18 millimeter. First 18. Also, I will change the 18 and make all corners with 18 millimeter. The next, I will give the dimension relationship between these two lines, which is 100. Okay. The next thing, we have 4 holes here. It is 64 millimeter between these 2 holes. Also, again, a shape is almost a square. Also, the distance between these 2 hole centers are 64. For this hole positions, you can also make this point, or you can just make another dimension to have the center points of these whole circles. For here, again, I will just define equality relationship between this line and this line of the rectangle here. I will just create this time. This is a rectangle. You can, if you use this line, the line of the previous square, as the ending point of the line circle, it, as you see, it is just it has a 45 degrees in each axis, to each axis. For this, you can just make this result, this coincidency result a square relationship. Here I'm going to just give 64 millimeter for this circle centers. For this line, I do not need, I will only use the intersection points to just create these holes. Here I'm going to just create 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. The next, I will define an equality relationship between these holes. Take this one, make equal to this one. Take this one, make equal to this one. Take this one, make equal to this one. This time, I will define 3 relationship to this circle. And when I give a dimensional relationship, which is this one, with a 14 millimeter in diameter, I can just define. Okay. Okay, this is our part. And I just create this sketch at this point. I will just go to backside to create the features. For this, I need a 44 millimeter far from this point, a new plane, and I will copy these entities at this point. And I will just use a revolve tool to make a solid part of our figure. Okay. I will just clear all the drawings. Close the annotation tool. finish my sketch first of all. Here, what I'm going to do is, I will just orient my view to front, right, top view, and I will create a new plane by having these options offset from a plane. I would like to transfer these details to a plane which is 44 millimeter far from XY plane. From here, I will go offset from plane, select the plane, and here we have an arrow here. You can just, with the left click, you can just change the direction here, and which is, this time it is the negative sign, 44 millimeter far from here. Here I'm going to just create a new sketch, start a new sketch on this plane. I'm not going to just draw these. I will use a project geometry on that plane and select the entities that I will need in the part, which are these profile sections. Okay. Finish my sketch. I will close the first sketch. Visibility. I am sorry, I need one thing more. I need a center line. For this, I will go to the new old sketch and take that geometry also. I will use this line geometry. This time, I think I have everything. Here, I'm going to use the revolve tool. Exactly. We have one profile section and one axis only to be seen here. The software automatically grabs and create the feature here. This is our first feature. We create, at this point, we created this profile without the fillets. I'm sorry. Okay. The next thing, what I need is, I need this profile also. As you see, I have just choose this point as my origin. And I would like to create the feature, something like this. As you see, we have a tangent relationship. Up to this point, we have a tangent relationship. Here, what I'm going to do is, I will just, open a new plane, which I can see from the top side. Here I have the YZ plane. Open its visibility. Then start a new sketch on XZ plane with F7 tool. I will just remove everything between my point of view and here. As you see, we have some details shown here. We have this one. This is this one. We have this one. This is seen here. We have this one. The hole here. This is this one. The next thing, I would like to create one, two, and a hollow section here with having the dimensions shown here. Do not forget, this is my origin point. for the profile, you can use both ways. Here, this way, this side, is much more simpler to just to imagine because it is interrupted and you cannot see the details at this point. I will just clear again. For this, I will start from the origin point, which is this point. The next, I will connect a line with a horizontal line. Here I need a geometry. This is a chamfer. I will just go pass through it. I will give that chamfer relationship after I have created my revolve section. Also, I ignore this fillet tool. Also, these two fillets, I will just go straight to fillets. For my figure, I would like to create this profile inside. Okay. I will ignore the annotation and create a new line. Here I need a line. I have too many dimensions with the cylindrical properties, which is this one. Also, do not forget this one, I'm sorry. Also, I'm sorry. We have a 64 millimeters in relationship. Next, I will go back to here and define my outline. Here I have a line. This line I'm not going to use. Change it to construction. This line also I'm not going to use, but I need center line properties because I have too many diametral dimensions here. The outline also we have 25 millimeters here. I will start from this point. As I did before, I will again do not define the inside radius, but I will just create a item here. I will go inside a little, then go outside, go inside, go inside. Here, what I did is, I will take another color pen. I will just create this line so far. Okay. The next, I will go again, the line. Here I have another profile like this. Go to outside, again to this point. I will connect this line and this line with the line here. I will just make the trims. The next, we have some dimensional relationship. We have the outline here. From this point, we have 19. Up to here, we have 42. Up to this flange point, we have 57 and 44 up to here. Here. I will give the dimensions what I have seen in my technical drawing. Here also, I need some aid lines. For this, I get a project geometry and use this axis line use this axis line to define 44 and 57. To separate these two lines, these two dimensions, I will use a line here, change it to construction. I'm sure that this line is 44 millimeter far from this line end because I have generated that plane. This 44, I am sure, because I have generated that plane from my origin point, which I have previously selected. For the back line, which is 52, 57 here, I will give that dimensional relationship, 57 here. The next, I will give 25 from this point to this line, which is this dimension. Okay. The next, we have the line here. Let me clear a little bit. Here we have a tangent relationship, which is this one and this one. For here, I would like to have this relationship, and I would like to create this line dimension. For this, I again create a new line. I'm not going to use this in properties. Change it to construction. And just define a tangent relationship between this circle, and this line. For this, I will go and create a tangent relationship. This line to be tangent to this circle. This is the outline of the circle of this point. The next, I would like to have this profile, this line, or this point on this line. For this, I use coincident constraint. I would like to have this point on this line. Okay. The next thing, I will just adjust my geometry, which I have seen here. Let's give the biggest geometry which we have here as a dimension. We have 44 about our profile. This is this point, this is this point, and we will continue with 44. For this, I will just create a new dimension from this point to this line, and it is 44. I am at this point. We just create this line. And after this point, we have to adjust this line end because that line end is very far from our figure. For these, I will just stretch and move to inside a little bit to show you that our figure here. We have an outline. We have an outline here. What I'm going to do is I will just go and search for that line properties, which is 64. Here I will give 64. Okay. Again, I will just move inside. As you see. Okay, the next thing, we also have another 50 millimeter here. When you just think about this cavity here, when you just create a cavity here to think about where it belongs to, as you see, we have a 50 millimeter in distance for that cavity. For this, I will just create a new 50 millimeter dimensional relationship. The next thing, I'll clear. The next, again, I'm not going to give this dimension. Also, I would like to have, okay, I would like to have the height dimensions here. Give 19, then 42. As you see, I insist on not giving this dimension. As you see, we all have the figure complete at this point. Finished my sketch this time. Change my orientation. First of all, like this. Then I will combine these two revolve sections. I will revolve this profile inside by using an axis here. Okay, this is our point here. Here we have these two faces just going inside. Also, we have a straight wall here, which these two lines are connected to each other. From here, what I'm going to do is I will again use this plane to create normal extrusion by using the lengths which I have seen up to this point here. Also, you can use this point as the extrusion. Okay. As told in Turkish, I will just go and continue to make the fill inside these two areas up to these 2 points, which is 32 millimeter from the XZ plane. This is XZ plane. This is 28 millimeter from the upper side of XZ plane. I start a new sketch on XZ plane, or from the top view, I see this plane and start a new sketch at that plane. With F7 tool, F7 tool, I will just go and find my view. Here, I will use some geometries, which is this one and this one. I will just combine these two with an aid line like this. I will trim. Also, I will get this project geometry from this point. Also, I would like to use this line because from the top side, we have that line. Also, we have a cavity here. For this, I would like to just combine with a straight line. This time, I will use a line here and make this line tangent to this line. I will use and fill this cavity here. Again trim, again trim. I will use these cavities and fill in two directions. Finish my sketch. I'm sorry. Finish my sketch. I'll go and find the profiles. With the extrusion tool, I will go inside and get that cavity. To the lower side, I'll just change my direction with this. And also, I will adjust 32 millimeter, which is this size. From the front view, as you see, we have this view. Also, we would like to have another combination between these 2 points. Okay, this is the gap here. Also, I would like to fill in this point. Okay. The next, I will fill from the top side. For other face, we also have another cavity to be filled to our part. Okay, this is our combination here. I would like to use these 2 sketches again, make it visible, and extrude again. This time I will use the same profiles for other way, which is 28. The extrusion length to the top side will be 28. Okay. The next, we have these 2 combination. The next, from this point here, we would like to have another addition, because this combination, these 2 items are not combined from the cross-sectional view. Also, we would like to add some features inside. Here, I would like to add these 2 points, these 2 sections here. For here, I'm going to use that relationship here. I would like to use these points. This is not specified very clearly at this point. We have a fillet tool. I will just create a fillet tool as I have here. From this point, I will just go and find my figure from the, I will search a plane to sketch on. Okay. For here, I will just create, I'm going to use this tool because I would like to have an extrusion tool to be about these 2 dimensions, which is 62, and I would like to just create a new sketch in this plane. With F7 tool, I would like to just combine these 2 items. Here, what I'm going to do is I will use a tool circle here, and I would like to have a fillet tool, which can be the 5 millimeter in radius. Here, I will grab the geometries, this one and this one, and also like this, fillet radius, which is this one, which is 5 millimeter, and I would like to have a tangent relationship between this and this. Also this and this. I will make a trim, and I will okay, have this one. And make coincident this time at this point. Yes. I'll make the trim. The next we are going to combine this area and this region by the normal tool. This line, and combine and get the geometry here. And this is a horizontal line. I'll make the trim. Okay, make the tangent. And I trim. I lost that relationship. Finish my sketch this time. I will use extrude this inside up to this point. You can select 2 to this point. I will fill the gap inside. Here. Also this gap inside. Or you can just take it, all the things out here. You can just create a new sketch to this face, and you can get all the geometries that you see here. The next missing thing, the missing line, is the line between these 2 lines. Here we have, this time, I will just go, finish my sketch, have the extrusion tool, select this profile, change the direction. I'm not going to cut, join to next. I will fill inside what I have, which it touches all the way here. As you see, it is filled this time. I will just make empty by using the first sketch relationships. For this, I'm going to use a new sketch to just make the clear inside. Also, do the same thing for other part. Again, I'm going to use, start a new sketch, and I would like to have, get the geometries. This geometry I need, this geometry, this one, and this one, and this one. Here I get all the geometries, finished one, extrude, this one, this one, this one, to the other side, and with the 2 next command to fill the gap inside. Okay. This is the part connected to each other. Okay. This is also to be revolved, or it is just to be with the filleted point.
Hocam.
The next thing, the missing, we have a flash at the back side here. Our first sketch, as you remember. We have another sketch tool from this point. I need the geometries to be projected. This one, this one, this one, this one. I will get the copies. This one and this one. I think we have done under this line. We have missing. Okay. This is the profile. One circle here. We will combine this time this piece and this piece, because from the top side we have that cavity just straight to, and we have a thickness about 13 millimeters. Finish my extrude, have this profile to be outside. Also, I would like to have this one because it just grabs that point, and I will change my distance to 30. Okay. These are the points which I have. Okay. We have the fillets on two sides. All the fillets are 5 millimeters. Here, what I'm going to do is I will just clear inside where I see here. Let's first make the holes, then we just clear the cavities. I have the hole tool. Here I have the top side with the threaded hole with a distance which is 22 millimeters with metric thread, metric 42 with 4.5, which is a standard. I do not need a starting point here, just I would like to have a normal threaded hole with a blind hole. We have the same thread, 22. This is the hole depth. This will be the 22 for threaded depth. I will just carry this to somewhere here. For this, I will just grab some geometry. Okay. Geometry. Okay. I will enlarge. We have a straight hole here. Again, I will search. Okay, I did not understand. We are going to just create a new sketch for whole point. I will just use this point, finish my sketch. Again, I will just go to whole point, select this point as a whole axis, use the same thing, threaded hole with a normal start with metric ISO 42 to 4.5. Also, I would like the first 22, 28 minus 6, which is also 22, the same thing. We have a straight wall. We have the same lengths. With OK tool, we just create a new feature here, like this. This is the feature here. Also, we have another hole on the back side. Again, create a hole. This time, this tool. Okay. Anyway, let's start with a new sketch. Get the geometry here for whole geometries. In the previous Autodesk, I can use some features. For this whole, I'm going to use metric 32, 33, I'm sorry. With metric 33 up to somewhere here, and that length will be something, not 32 with a true hole, not 61 or something like this. That is 35, also 35. This dimension comes from the other parts, which is in the assembly. Here we have 52 with minus 53, 13. This dimension comes because it is inserted at that point. Here, what I'm going to do is, again, I need a 42 millimeter threaded hole at this point. Again, start a new sketch, get a project geometry, finish my sketch, have a hole tool, select this point with a normal threaded with ISO 42. This time we have a threaded length with 14 and 19, I'm sorry. All the dimensions here are 19 and 19, so the direction it is used in this one, the direction I will just flip to inside. We have a threaded hole at this point. Okay. The next thing, what we have, the fillet tool. Also, we have a cuts inside. Let's do the cuts inside. I will go to inside point, start a new sketch with F7 tool. I'm sorry, with F7 tool, I will make this clearance empty up to somewhere here. Get the project geometries that I do not need. Here also, I need this geometry. I'm sorry. I'll just go to with F7. Okay, a new line, which is tangent. This line is tangent to this line. The trim tool, I do not need. Also, I would like to extend this line with trim. I do not need this portion up to 42 millimeters on each side. Finish my sketch, extrude tool. Here I have inside, grab the inside point with symmetric I think it's not symmetric. For here, we have 25 because it is at this point. We have asymmetrical from here. We have 25. Let's increase this one. Yes, we have to cut at our point here. Also, for other side, we have 42 minus 25 for other side. To see what we did, let's go to half section view like this. Yes, this is the point which we would like to have, which we see at this point. Also, we have some minor details here. We would like to fill the gap here. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to just think about, this is not the line which we are searching for. We need a line here which is 16 millimeter far from the center point. This line which must be 16. It trims. Okay, accept. Again, change my extrusion profile. I need this profile, also this profile this time. With OK. Also, for the other parts, also I need that extrusion as well. Again, start sketch. I'm sorry, start sketch. Start sketch. I do not need this portion as well. Also, this line I do not need. Yes. I will just create a new rectangle tool to just cut inside as well. Again, I will go to extrusion, select inside, and make the copy here. Also, for this excess portion, I will just like to have a revolve cut up to somewhere here. Again, I will open the first sketch somewhere here, start a new sketch on this plane, get the geometry. You can also get the revolve geometry. This one, let's create this one. I will just close first sketch visibility. I will also use this geometries, this one and this one. F7 tool. Okay. Again, finish my sketch. Okay. Geometry I need for the top side also this way. This one. I need the revolve tool to clear inside. Select the axis, which is this one. I'll just delete inside to have a whole feature. We have a channel inside this time. We have cleared all the things. The next thing I'm going to just check and section view. I will go to half section view and check the profile if I have the same view from the top side, almost the same view. For this, I would like to have a smooth cut here. If I give the fillets, I would just like to have this way around, also this one. I would like to have this view. Okay, let me check the sideway view. Okay, this one we have next. Okay, the next thing we have the fillets. I'm going to use the fillet tool to just finish my part. I will use the fillet tool. I use the 5mm because nothing is specified. Here, I'm going to just use this 5. Also, outside here, this one, also inside this one, also the flange here, this one, also from the other side, this one. I think yes, we have. Okay, so far. Let's get rid of this and section view. Also, we have. I'm going to add fillets, which I do not see. Do I have any fillets? No, I do not have. I'm not interested in this point. Okay. I think we have one missing point, which is inside of that whole section. Okay. We'll add the fillets to the same figure. We have the 5 here, also the 5 here. I think it just disturbs. Okay. Again, fillet for 5. One by one, let's make it 5 tool, but okay. Again, 5 tool, another. Okay, anyway. I don't understand this. I'm not sure. Maybe it's 3. Anyway, I will leave as it is. Okay, the next thing. We have the fillet tool, which is this one. For flip inside, I will use end section, half section view, again using this side. I will just flip the section to see the other side inside, because we haven't given some, oh, we have an emptiness here before the fillet tool, so I think it will be much more better to have the revolve tool. This revolve. So this one, this extrusion, yes. Before the tools, it is sometimes better to have the fillets, which is this one, 5 and 5 here. Okay. I will just fast forward here. We have some tools. Yes, I would like to have that tool inside. We have a gap here. I have to fill. Anyway, this is an overall general idea here. I think I need a fillet tool here for 5. Then it will just close this gap. Anyway, I have just forgotten something during the model. I'll just save my profile.